Hey guys, Nick here. Wanted to give you guys a quick overview of my setup that I just ran at the 2016 LA-Barstow-To-Vegas ride. If you guys follow me on Instagram, obviously I do a lot of different riding in different terrain, and most recently did this LA-Barstow-To-Vegas ride, which changed a couple things on the bike. Nothing drastic, but obviously the long distance required a lot of packing of tools and different things that we might need on the trail getting to Vegas. So one of the new upgrades that I just added was this Baja Designs XL Pro LED light. We obviously started early in the morning and ended late at night. It's getting dark early now, so the light was a necessity. It worked out really well. Very happy with it. Obviously, could I use more light? Yeah. The coverage, depending on, if I was going through some whoops or some other areas, it might be a little bit nicer to add a couple other lights, small lights, to light up the road ahead of me to see a little bit better. But that light alone was a huge upgrade from factory. It's definitely a necessity to start with. And if you need more, then you add a couple other little pods, like I think I'm going to end up doing myself. So that's one recent upgrade that I did. The other recent upgrade was adding on these giant loop saddlebags. They're the Mojave series. Honestly, we're trying to, in the group that I rode with, our main goal was to take a lot of the weight off of our body, move it to the bike. This allowed us to run, me personally, I was running a front tube, all my tire changing tools, air, cartridges, everything I needed in on that respect. Plus I had an extra set of goggles, some goggle wipes, couple of, some oranges and bananas. It allowed me to put some extra stuff on my bike. I'm used to riding with a vest, which is a nice change to take all the weight off of my body. After I had these saddles put on, I basically ran everything that I ran in my vest into the saddles and ended up with just a water pack on the back, and then like a couple other little supplies that I needed for small snacks and stuff like that. Ended up using for a backpack, hydration pack, was running the MSR A4 pack, I believe it is. Might be wrong on that exact series, but I got another video, if you guys seen it, did a little overview on my new gear that I got too as well. So that's an upgrade that I did. I will tell you something that if you're planning on doing rides like this, that is a necessity. I highly recommend the Seat Concepts seat. It's formed a little bit different. Some guys might say, oh, you're supposed to stand up, blah, 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 blah. Honestly, on a large ride like these that I attend, you do stand up majority of the time, don't get me wrong, but there is sections where you just need to sit down. And let alone the form of this seat allows you to grip the bike a little bit better as well. So I enjoyed that. It's definitely an upgrade that I've had since, I want to say, just after day one. Money well spent. I already had a tank on the bike, the Serbies 3-gallon tank. Another necessity for long rides. I can get about 125 miles, I want to say, out of this tank, depending on how I am with riding conditions and throttle. Obviously sometimes I use a little bit more fuel than other times. So that is something that I already had on the bike. Actually, something here that a lot of people always ask me about. Let me flip around over here. If you want to know about my handlebar setup, and what I'm running is the Highway Dirt Bike hand guards that has a mirror flip out. This mirror right here can easily rotate out, and you can see whoever is behind you, if you're on the road or on the trail. And then when you're on the trail and you don't want it sticking out, you just flip it back in. Another deal that I use on all my big rides is an iPhone. I actually use an older iPhone, a past iPhone that I had. This one's a 5. I got it in a nice little, simple case. It's not weatherproof, but if I ever go into a raining situation and whatnot, I usually just take it off. But it's got a matte screen on it, screen protector. And then what I run for navigation is an app called Lead Nav. It's a pretty cool app. A lot of racers use it in the Best in the Desert and Score and other off-road sanction events. I was turned on to it a couple years ago. Really enjoy using that Lead Nav app. Basically, I just need to have whoever's doing the tracks for the event email them over to you, and then you can drop them onto that app. Real easy to use, simple. This mount that I have here is a Mob Armor mount. Let me unplug this right here real quick. It's a Mob Armor mount. I just recently got this. It's pretty cool. I'm running it with a small ram mount extension with a ram mount ball at my handlebars. This goes in here. You push down the mount that holds it in, and then there's a little knob on the back side that allows me to tighten it down and keeps the phone nice and secure. I had a pretty good get off at this LA-Barstow-To-Vegas ride on day 1, a little bit past Husky Monument. Fatigue was setting in. I was pushing a little hard and hit a rock that kicked me out sideways, and before I knew it, I was going over the handlebars, landed in a bunch of rocks. This mount moved over, folded in, but at the end of the day, you'll notice that there's a crack there on the screen. That's from way prior than from me even using it from riding. But as you can see, this phone took a hit, went over the bars, and it's still fine. So I've been really digging that, working out well. Obviously, you see I got a Scott's sub mount stabilizer. That works out really well at high speeds. What else I got going on here? Running a 1452 gear ratio, sprocket and counter sprocket. I'm running a Desert. I've got Maxxis Desert ITs front and back. The rear tire was a freshie right before this ride. Obviously, you can see still got some good tread. I'll run it here for a couple smaller rides. I always like to keep my tires nice and fresh. That's just me, but this tire could still go, quite a bit longer. It's 120/100 18. Getting the giant loop bag. Got a TMD skid plate that's been working out really well. There's been some mixed reviews about the skid plate. I did have the first version. The mounts were a little thin for the first version. Really it's tight in there underneath the engine, in between the chassis. They don't leave a whole lot of room for mounting options. So TMD did a good job at the first version. We got those, and they bent a little bit. They loosened up, but TMD covered it. They got me set up with all their new mounting brackets, and this thing has been on there working well for now, I want to say just about over a year, year and a couple months. So I've been doing well with this skid plate. I recommend it if you're into the urethane skid plates. If you're an aluminum guy, obviously this isn't for you, but it's been working well for me. So again, a couple little upgrades that were needed for this ride that I just recently went on. I'll still use these upgrades, like the saddles, for some long distance rides. My kid rides too, so I thought it was a pretty good investment to get as well if we're out just cruising around on the weekend doing a day ride. He rides a 2-stroke. He's on a 50 and a 65, so Realistically, I can throw a jug of fuel in there because he's going to be the one that runs out of fuel quicker than I do. So those bags will come in handy. That's pretty much it on this bike. Of new stuff, obviously there's a bunch of other upgrades. Here's my Discover Enduro fork guards. Those things have been holding up real well. Obviously taking some abuse. It's on that side. Here's on the other side. Another cool little upgrade so you don't beat up your forks at the bottom hitting rocks. I will say that I just noticed after this ride, got this nice cool dent on the wheel. Obviously I ride this thing pretty good. You know, it's a toy. I ride it. She brings me home. I obviously don't want to get hurt, but I'll like to push myself here and there, and you know, if something wears out, we replace it. If it needs to be upgraded, we upgrade it, and we just go from there. So this ride is not the most difficult ride, as in level of you know, the terrain, but I will say it's a logistical. You have to definitely be prepared. LA-Barstow-To-Vegas. There's guys that are doing it in sidecarts, guys that are doing it on vintage bikes. At the end of the day, you know, you got adventure bikes as well. It's not the most treacherous ride, but logistical. You have to be ready. You have to be ready with proper clothes. You got to be ready for having the proper tools for trail fixes. And let alone you have to be prepared for flats. Our group got probably, I think it was 3 flats total after 2 days. I was fortunate enough not to be one of those guys that got a flat, but you know, I ride with a pretty good core group, and these guys are always prepared. So they were able to fix those flats, and we're all running heavy tubes, but you know, you never know when you need to fix your bike and get your back up on the road. And you know, we clocked in at 530 miles total on this ride. Maybe a little bit over than 530, but after 2 days, you know, definitely a lot of miles. So gotta be prepared. I highly recommend the LA-Barstow-To-Vegas ride. I highly recommend the Baja front headlight. That was great for a night. The giant loop saddles, definitely a savior. Got all the weight off of my body, got it on the bike just where it needs to be. And a lot of people ask, did I feel them? Did I feel the weight on the bike? I might have felt the weight a little bit on the bike, but it didn't affect my riding at all. I was able to, you know, get in an aggressive stance on the back for the pegs, you know, standing back a little bit further. I never really felt them against my legs that jeopardized any type of restraining me from being aggressive on the bike. So another, you know, thumbs up on the saddlebags as well. So there it is. That's the overview of my bike. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, check out nick.v70. You can also check out my YouTube channel and subscribe at nick.v70 as well. Hope to see you guys on the trails. If you guys got any questions, feel free to post them down below. I'll try to answer as best as possible. See you guys.